So hello guys, FK97 here. This time with a new video, and it's even the next video, with my top list of my favorite top 3 cartoon series. Now we came to number 1. Number 3 was My Fairly Odd Parents. Number 2 was Avatar, The Last Airbender, and now we come to the first place. And again, it will be a kind of shorter video, and I have to say I prepared the least for this one, but as I said before, I will make shorter videos so I can do more, and so that's no problem for this video. Yeah, and I want to do videos for The Last Airbender, some videos, and to Huntik 2. We have to look how much time I have for this. I now want to begin to speak about my number 1, or talk about what my number 1 is of my favorite cartoon series who were produced by Nickelodeon. And the second and first place, they were really close, but still the first place was like, I know in the beginning what I would pick. I'm really a really big fan of all of these series, but especially of this one. And yeah, let's talk about it. As always, I have in the beginning just some pictures with nothing to make it more that you watch and think what's the first place. And yeah, so I will start right now. It's a nice picture, by the way. And let's come to the number 1 series I picked. And as always, I will then say some facts about the series, and then I will speak freely about the series itself. And there's a lot to talk about the series. Maybe if you took the series itself, even though there are not so much seasons and not so much episodes maybe than in other series, there's a lot to talk about, and very interesting stuff for me. And I think a lot of people doesn't even know that this series exists, because I think it's not so popular or famous than the other 2. And there is, even from the producers, it's not the most famous series. I know there will be some people who know that, but yeah, not so much people maybe. So it's famous, but it's not super famous, and it's maybe, I think it's not so famous as place 3rd and 2nd. But it's my favorite series, and I really, really love it. I was really a big fan of this series. So let's start. What will it be? And here we have it. My favorite series. What was produced for Nickelodeon, or shown in Nickelodeon, and it's Huntik, Secrets and Seekers. There are, I will talk about, first of all, I will talk about some facts about the series. Then I will talk about the picture, and I have not so much pictures as before, and about the creators and what the series is about. I will talk about it more freely. And I'm really a big fan of this series. I'm really happy that I can talk about this series. And yeah, let's just start by some facts about the series. It's a cartoon series. It's called Huntik, Secrets and Seekers. It was first shown in the year 2009. And as you maybe even see from the picture, the series, there's a lot of mythology and legends who were shown in the series. You can say, but in the serious kind of way. You know, there's a lot of mythology and everything. There are a lot of stuff is in it, you know, and I will talk about it in more deeply later. And for example, even the places where it's placed, you know, there are a lot of mythology. Like we have Atlantis there, or Amazonia, I think it's called in English, where the Amazons live, or the Argonauts, like in the Greek mythology, or legends and fairy tales. Like for example, there's one episode where there is somebody who can play flute and then control with it rats, or I think even people maybe. Or I think he can control rats, but it's like there's a legend, you know, in real life or fairy tale where somebody with a flute can control, I think it was children or something. So there's a lot of, you know, fairy tales, mythology, who is in the serious, you can say, in the serious kind of way. And of course, always constructed within the main road that the series goes. So the country where it was produced is Italy, and the original language is also Italy, the Italian language. As I said, the production year was 2009, and the length of one episode. First of all, there are 52 episodes in 2 seasons. Each season has 26 episodes. And the length of one episode is about 24 minutes long. The genre is action and adventure. And it's also made more for you know, young teenagers or kids or fans like me. And can say the creator, the regie was made by Igneo Straffi. I think there were a lot of people writing on the series, even Igneo Straffi, but one of the main writers of the series is John Molyneux. I don't know if I speak it correctly, you know, because I think that's, you know, it's an Italian series, but it's how it's written. It sounds, his surname sounds more, or his last name sounds more French-like. John Molyneux, could be like this. And the music were made by Michel Betta, Stefano Cavara, and Fabrizio Castagna. And it was first shown on the 3rd January 2009 in Rai 2. It's an Italian TV channel, I guess. And you know, I always look the German up, you know, the German where it first was shown there. It was first shown there in 16 March 2009 in RTL 2. I don't know where it's in America and in England, you know, were first shown. I guess on Nickelodeon, and also some 2009, and I think more like the Italian first production, because as it's my top list, and it's about series who were shown and produced for Nickelodeon. And so you may be thinking, it's not Nickelodeon right now I was talking about. The production, how can I say it? It was made kind of for Rainbow. It's called Rainbow, the industry, and Rainbow and Nickelodeon. How is the connection there? Rainbow and Nickelodeon are both part of so-called Viacom, who is a big industrial kind of firm, you know, and part of these firms are channels like, for example, Nickelodeon and Rainbow. So, you know, it's all Viacom, you know, Rainbow and Nickelodeon are part of Viacom, so there you have the connection. So it's still, you can say, made for Nickelodeon. So that's my favorite series, and that's all I want to bring up facts wise. Now I want to talk about a little bit about the series itself, and as I said again, I will talk about it more freely. Again, there are 2 seasons of it, and as in the Fairly Odd Parents series and the Avatar The Last Airbender series, there are also protagonists, and even a group of protagonists, you can say, who are, the good guys kind of, and fighting the evil guys. And you see them here in the foreground, of course. They are the main characters. The main protagonist, I would say, if you will so, because they're all 4, kind of the main protagonist, but the hero mostly of this, and the person who is beginning to understand the Huntik world, kind of with the watchers, of the series, is with the viewers of the series, is Locke Lambert. It's the blonde guy you see here in the foreground, and on the left side of him we see Dante Whale, who is his mentor, you can say. And on the right side, behind Locke Lambert, we see Salia Moon, who is also on the team. And on the right side of Salia, we see Sophie Casterville. So they are the main group, and they are part of the organization, you can say, or they are part of the Seekers. And the Seekers is kind of an organization by itself. Organization of Seekers, you can say, so called. And Seekers are people in the series who have have amulets, amulets where titans are in that amulets. I hope I speak it out correctly, like the one we see here, who Locke Lambert is holding. The green amulet you see here. And in the background, we see some titans. And that are even titans. They all 4 protagonists, you can say, have more than one titan. They have a lot of titans. But here we see always one of the titans they have. Like on the left side, we have the titan called Caliban, who is the titan of Dante Whale, one of the titans of Dante Whale. Maybe you can even say his main titan. Then on the right beside of Caliban, we have Florestus. Florestus is, Dante Whale has also one Florestus, but he gave one to Locke Lambert. And how it is shown here, we have each person with one titan. So this is the Florestus. This is Locke Lambert's Florestus. We see here this titan right beside of Caliban, and then right beside of Florestus we have King Basilisk, who is maybe even the strongest titan, or one of the strongest titans of Salia Moon. And then right beside of King Basilisk we have these bird men, you can say. It's called Icarus, and Icarus is one of the titans of Sophie Casterville. But as I said, every seeker of those 4 main seekers or main protagonists have more than one titan. They have a lot of titans. Even Locke Lambert, the amulet he's holding, has another titan. I forgot his name, but it's some titan who is kind of, with the help of this titan, Locke Lambert can fly, you can say. So, and not only this, also with the titans, they get also magical powers. So they can use magic, they can use magical spells for their benefits, like, I don't know. There are different kind of spells they can use, like, for example, Fling Fire, I think it's called, where they can run fast, or they can use magical spells like kind of a fire beam or an ice beam they can use against their enemies. And also they can go in their mind and manipulate. That's mostly specifically, it's not all seekers can do this. For example, if you go in the mind of a person, that's more like Salia can do this in this group, for example. So you have to have special powers to do that, you know, and everybody is special in their kind of way, you know. Because it's a more short video, I will not go into the specifics always, and will not talk about every Titan they have. Maybe I will make it in another video, just a little bit about that, you know, what the story is about and what the world is about. So we have here the main group of the Seekers. We have Locke Lambert, the hero. We have Dante Whale, his mentor, and yeah, often called the strongest member of the Huntik, of the Seekers Association. And then we have Salia Moon, who at first were betraying the main protagonist group because she was spying for the so-called organization, but then she really liked the group, you know, and began they are beginning to be her friends, you know, especially Dante Whale, where she has, you know, Dante Whale and Salia Moon, they kind of have love interest in each other and are really close. And so she decides to stay with the group and work against the organization. And the organization is a very bad group who was made, and even the chief of the organization, it's called the Professor always, or Simon Judeo. He's you can say the main antagonist in the first season. And in the second season, we have the Viro Spiral, I hope I say it correctly, where we have Rasimov, so-called Rasimov, as the main antagonist, because he's the leader of this group. And there's even kind of, I don't know if a bigger leader, but you know, an ancient kind of power who is besides this evil group. And this powerful person was called the Betrayer. So that are the evil guys, you can say. And the protagonist, of course, fights these evil guys. So the evil guys, of course, they want to have power. They want to control the world with their power as often, you know, in their way. And the good guys try to change that, and it's always kind of adventure-like. They get new Titans and help people and Titans, and are searching for some secrets who may help them. And Locke Lambert also has a very personal mission to get in touch with his lost father, called Ethan Lambert. And Ethan Lambert is kind of a legendary seeker, you can say, who we later find out is a kind of imprisoned, you can say, in the Titans world, you can say. So we have here Salia. Salia was, we find more out about the other characters, you know, like Dante Whale. His mentor was Metz, who is a very big leader also of the Seeker organization. And then we have, you know, Salia Moon, who was a very poor kid. And then Klaus came, who is, you can say, a bad or evil guy, but he helped her. So she was very close to him, but then you can say she betrayed him for her friends, because she doesn't want that her new friends, will get hurt, you know, and decides to be on the good side, you can say. And then we have here on the very right side Sophie Casterville, who is an ancient related to Lord Casterville, who was a very powerful man and even I don't know everything exactly anymore, but Lord Casterwell, he has kind of something to do with that the Titans lived on Earth. You can say he was kind of bonded with them, and you can say a good and powerful guy, or he seems to be good and powerful. And yeah, he's kind of very legendary, very, not especially godlike, but very powerful, you know. And yeah, she's related to him. Her name is Sophie Casterwell, and because of that also she had sometimes very special powers. And yeah, she's a very clever person, especially Locke Lambert and her. Every of these persons, you know, kind of develop, but especially Locke Lambert and her, because they're new members. Locke Lambert doesn't know anything of the world when he started. Sophie Casterwell knows a lot of the Huntik world before she, you know, started as a seeker, really, or before the series started. So there, you can say Locke Lambert make the most development because he had no idea in the beginning what's going on. But even though she's very young, you know, in Locke Lambert's age, and you know, we see kind of development of herself. She was at first interested in, or his love interest at first was, her love interest was Dante Whale, but then it changed, and you can say Locke Lambert and Sophie Casterwell kind of other love interest then, and came together, and Salia and Dante. In the second season, we have another seeker in the main group who's called Dan Fierce, who tries to get his brother back from the so-called Viro Spiral. He goes on the team because Salia kind of goes to the Viro Spiral, but as an spy, you know, she's spying for the seekers, you can say, for the Huntik organization. Here we have another picture. Here we see some kind of other titans also from Locke Lambert, you know, the flying titan from him, you can say, and the flying titan from Dante Whale, who I think is called Solaris. And also we see here Chariot. Chariot is also a part of the main team, and he's a titan who is very old, even was there in the beginning, even when Lord Casterwell lived, he was there. But he lost his memory, you can say, and he lost also his amulet, and he can speak. Normally titans cannot speak, but Chariot can speak. So yeah, he's also part of the team, and he can sometimes attack with a beam, or with kind of his magical beam also can heal people power-wise, you can say. And here's another picture. Here we see Dante Whale in the foreground and his titan Metagolem in the background. Then I don't know what in the middle the titan is called, but it's a titan from the organization. And then on the right side we have Kitana, one of the titans of Salia Moon. So as I said, there are a lot of titans they have. And also in the first season they just they just put their amulets out and they can call their titans, and then they come and help them. And also in the second season there's kind of a development there also, where they can power bond with their titan, and then the bond between the seeker and the titan gets stronger, but also the titan itself gets stronger, and also the magical power of the seekers gets stronger with a power bonded version, and they look a little bit different, like a little bit, you can say, more advanced or something. They look a little bit different. That's something that happens in the second season. And all of the main characters, have then power bonded titans. And titans, you can call them, but not forever. You get it costs kind of power, and they're just there for a few minutes. And when they power bond, I think they're even lesser, because it costs more power of you. And normally nobody dies in the series, or it's very rare that somebody dies. And titans normally not, because if the titan gets beaten up, he goes back to his amulet, kind of the same thing what happens in the Pokemon series or Yu-Gi-Oh series, But also we see that Titans can die or their amulets can get destroyed. There has something special has to happen, Then the amulets get destroyed and they cannot call anymore their Titans. It happens to 2 of the Titans of the main group, and also 1 Titan. In this case was Sophia from Sophie Casterville. But this Titan, it's called Sabriel, and it's with Sorcerer kind of her main Titan. And in the first season, it's her main Titan, and in the second kind of with Sorcerer, her main Titan. But because also of her, Casterville powers and of the special bond they have, for one time the rune, what every kind of, you have the amulet, and then the amulet was destroyed, and then the rune comes back to for the Titan comes back in kind of Sophie Casterville's hand, and so she could call her again, even though at first her Titan was destroyed. So that was very special. And Titans, normally not get destroyed. They just go back in the amulets when they are KO, you can say. But it can happen, for example, when a Titan doesn't want to go in his amulet because he just wants to protect their seekers, or it's very important for them to not go back. Or if they cannot go back in the amulets, it also can happen. Or if they get absorbed, or if there's a very special kind of thing or spell that destroys them, you can say. That also happened to one of Dante's amulets, where Rasimov destroyed it with a spell, and then the amulet also gets destroyed. So the Titan is then not anymore on the team. You can say he's kind of dead. I don't know how this is exactly working, but then you don't have this Titan anymore. And also, team who were making Huntik, the writers, and especially Igneous Trophy, they made other series too, or especially another series who's even more famous, I would say, than Huntik. And it's also made for kind of Rainbow and Nickelodeon, who are part of Viacom, And you may know the series, it's Winx. It's made from the same creators and writers. I think there are a lot of series with Winx, and also a lot of seasons. But I don't know so much about this series itself, the original series. There's the new one on Netflix I watched, who's the Winx series, but with, real actors and stuff, and a little bit different than the original series, you can say. I watched these. It's not so bad as in series, but my first place is the Huntik series, and I just now want to talk a little bit, or have some pictures of the Winx Club or Winx the series, because it's made from the same people who made Huntik. Just important to know, interesting to know maybe, because I think it's a more famous series than Huntik, but I love Huntik more. And and I think that's everything I have to say right now. I'm really in love with the series, because there's so much myths and so much legends from the real world who were kind of shown there with Titans or secrets or areas where they are kind of how do you say it, where they're kind of acting or have their adventures they are placed in Atlantis, as I said, or some places from Greek mythology or North mythology or whatever, There's so much things in the series that I think made it great, and also the characters are kind of cool, because it's a series made kind of for kids, but you also there's some special stuff. You see when you look at the characters, for example, who have kind of Zalia or Dante, who have more Zalia maybe than Dante, but they have their sarcasm and stuff. There's a lot of things in it, you can say. That's why I love the series, and also how it is made. It's kind of a mix between Japanese anime style, and also American or European cartoon style. It's kind of a mix, you can say. It's really, really cool made. It's there are a lot of series who take mythology and legends and fairy tales and reproduce it in a kind of own style, like we have in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon or something like this, But yeah, Huntik also, they made it very, very unique with the Titans and with the stories who are kind of taken from mythology but reproduced in a new way, who's fitting into the Huntik world and into the theme and storyline of the story, you can say. That made it so great. And also, like, even the evil characters, like the Professor Simon Judeo, who's this evil guy who has the kind of we see more of his past, where he worked with Ethan Lambert together, who is the father of Locke Lambert, and also sometimes with Mads, who is the mentor of Dante Vale. And Simon Judeo, we in the beginning you see him just as a professor, and then we find more about this guy Simon Judeo, who turns out to be the professor, and then we see why he's acting like this kind of, and he's evil, and he even stays evil, but also he's like, for example, he has a dog who he give also some titans to the dog, and we find out later on, it's kind of, he always, it's his pet, and he really loved it, you can say, or he show him often love. And then we find out this dog is called Ethan Lambert, and Ethan Lambert is kind of lost because of the professor, and he was fighting against him, but at one time they were friends, and it was even shown, even though the professor is like this evil guy, Simon Judeo, but also, even though he's this evil guy, it's shown in the series, and it was even shown after his, I don't know if he's really dead, there was a legendary titan who took Simon Judeo with him, and after it we find out, or even shortly before it was shown in the series, we find out in the series that he named his dog Ethan, for Ethan Lambert, as I said. And it shows just that he has also human side, and he misses, even though he's this bad and evil person, he misses his friend from his past, even though they were fighting against each other and stuff. It's I like stuff like this. It's, yeah, he's bad, and the villain of the story is for season 1, for example, but there is some human in him, and there is some good things also hide in him, hidden in his person. He misses his friend, and he kind of misses the adventures they had together. So it's really interesting. It's pretty. I think it's very interesting. I have no picture now of the professor, but it's very interesting. And even though they're legendary titans, they're often, a lot of people are searching for them because they're so powerful. In the past, we see even Simon and Ethan were searching for them, and then they found them, and the professor took one of the legendary titans and then gets ill, and that's kind of where he started to decide to go in one direction, where he kind of gets more power and tries to he tries to stop his illness, but also tries to gain more and more power. And even also, of course, wants to help his friend, but then he sees, okay, he's more going after power than after adventures, and it's not good anymore. And Simon couldn't really understand this, and so there was kind of splitting point. But even though they are different sides, they have a path together, and I really like this. And I also like, I'm normally not speaking so much about these things necessarily, even though I will speak about this because I want to speak about the whole worlds, you can say. But I even like it where we see kind of the love interest from Dante Vale and Salia Moon and Locke Lambert and Sophie Casterville, but because it's made not so, I don't know, it's made in a very good way and in a there's kind of complexity in it, but also kind of simple and kind of in a way that kids can look this and it's okay, and they may not understand what really is going to happen, but it's also made for kids or young teenagers, but also when you understand more as an adult, it's also great, it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of made very interesting, and it has its own charm, you can say. It's never kind of just goes in this direction, never goes just in a fighting area and explosions, and also not just in relationship areas. It goes in this, but in a very calm way, and there's so much themes in it, the mythology, the psychology, even though for the main characters, their development, their relationships, it's like so, but it's not just focus on one of these things. It's kind of, it's everything, it's everything, and everything connects, and that made for me the series so beautiful, even though if you see it, there's some failures in it, because sometimes, especially in the series, you see they say some magical spells and then it's shown another spell, but I think that's not something I have to complain at it at all, because it's more like, and it's not the thing. I love things like fantasy worlds or science fiction or series like these, who were made on Nickelodeon. It's because I like to go in the world and see the relationships and development. As I said, it's like that made the series so great, in my opinion. And also you can think in this world, how would you be, and all the different titans, who came from different kind of places, We don't have just mythology also there. Like, for example, Caliban, who I showed you at first, is coming originally from a book from Shakespeare, who's their person, but it's reinvented as a titan in Huntik, who's very differently, maybe, who has something to do with these connection, but it's a very differently person. Like Icarus, of course, too, He's not a boy who is trying to fly with wings. It's a really, like here you see it, it's a titan. So it's kind of using these figures, in a very unique own way, full of fantasy, and even though it's like this, it has despite of all this, there's a logical way of doing it, and unique way, and that's very cool. It's very, very cool to see that, and yeah, I'm really happy to speak about the series. Maybe I will make some videos, with which Titans have which are all of the Titans of Dante or Zalia or Locke Lambert or Sophie Casterville, and which are power bonded and which not. And also, in addition to that, to these 2 seasons that exist from this series, there are also comics about it. I don't know so much about the comics, just about the seasons. And yeah, very, very beautiful series. And yeah, also what I have talked about, and I cannot really talk about it right now, it's about different categories of Titans who exist. There are different categories, like legendary Titans, who are these very strong, powerful Titans. And also there are kind of, all the Titans have kind of, their level shown in their strengths. Like they have a defense from 3, for example, and an attack from 2, so they're all ranked, you can say. But despite their ranks in the series, they can kind of exist a weaker Titan, but he's maybe more bonded, or they're more cleverer how to use the Titan, so they kind of weaker Titan can win against a stronger Titan. It's possible. And that's also what I really like about the series, so yeah, with that being said, I think that's all I have to say right now. As I said, I'm very thrilled to talk about this series, and yeah, so let's see you guys. Bye bye. See you. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed to watch the video. Bye bye.